Hello guys and welcome to the next hot topic of Project Cars 2. It's something everyone wonders about, which is the fastest GT3 car we have in the game. It's a Ferrari. Thanks for watching, see you next time. No, just kidding. I mean, most people want to drive the fastest car at all times, so they have the best chances of winning. Isn't it like that? So we're trying here to unveil the mystery, to answer the question, which GT3 car should you be driving in? We have different approaches to this. Obviously, we can take the lap times, for example. The thing is, while comparing lap times, there's so much going on with suiting cars for your driving style, yeah? The setup of the cars need to be altered to suit your needs, and so on and so forth. So for me, as a test, I did not want to compare the cars by lap times. I mean, which racetrack do you take, and how many laps do you drive? Or, you know, it's not all laps are the same. Yeah, you have differences. You're one day you're faster than the other day, and believe me, a test with over 15 GT3 cars is not done in one day. So I came up with something different that is, well, it is not overly useful if you don't interpret the results. So I give you some numbers and then we will interpret the results together. First I will tell you what I did. I had a short drive with all the GT3 cars and I took a part of a track, namely the first sector of Le Mans, and just measured how fast the cars can go until first chicane of Le Mans and how fast they accelerate to that speed. And yes, I hear everyone saying, whoa, you can't compare cars just by speed, that doesn't say anything. And yes, you are right, that's why I said earlier in the video we have to interpret the results. I also added some handling notes, so what I felt about the car. I drove it a little bit here and there, every car, and then I entered test range, so to say. So in the results you will see in a second, you can read about my general feeling of all cars in the notes area. Okay, let's start with the first results, or it's always the same results, I can tell you, however it's differently sorted. So first one I sorted by top speed reached in Le Mans until first chicane. What we can clearly see, there are like let's say 5 cars that are quite below 270 kilometers per hour. So those cars are quite on the slow side of the spectrum. And then there are 2 cars completely going insane with their top speed. And this is the Aston Martin and the old Mercedes SLS. Yeah, they go over 280 kilometers per hour in comparison to the slowest car, the Ginetta and the Acura, with only going about 205 kilometers per hour. I'd say the middle, everything in between 268 to 224 kilometers per hour is all about the same, yeah. Of course, that's still a huge difference if we are talking about 5 kilometers per hour. However, it will not make a huge. So I told you we would interpret those figures. What can we say? If you're going on a track that is mainly flat out, Your best cars are probably the old SLS and the Aston Martin. However, keep in mind those two cars are natural aspirated, so on tracks that have higher altitude, where the turbo helps a little bit to keep your horsepower, those two cars will have small disadvantages and so might not go as fast as you expect them. A good example is Nordschleife here, yeah? To repeat the test there, you probably won't be 10 kilometers faster than the other cars, but only 5, or maybe you're just about the same speed. Let's quickly move on to maybe a bit more useful sortation. It's sorting by acceleration. So what I did there was, in the first sector of Le Mans, I had to full stop at the exact same point with every car, and then I just hit the throttle and throttled out until the first chicane, where I just crashed into the tire barrier, and then I measured how fast was the car at the point of impact. So what we can see again, the old SLS and the Aston Martin being up front there with only 13 to 14 seconds for the whole distance, while the Acura and the Renault Sport RS took 17 to 18 seconds, which is 4 to 5 seconds more, and this is quite something, yeah? Maybe I forgot to mention this is all with default setups, so we can expect to make all cars maybe a little bit more equal. However, I think SMS balanced the cars quite right this time, so the differences will not be as much if you are completely altering the setups of all cars. Again, what we can see, there are like two cars that are completely insane. Yeah, it's Mercedes and Aston Martin again. Then there are cars that are quite slow, starting with the Ginetta over the Huracan, the Bentley, and the Acura and the Renault. So those cars are quite slow on the acceleration side and might have problems with overtaking. Yeah? As something we can say here, that overtaking will be hard in those cars, and they will be overtaken more frequently on straights. Of course, the distance from Tertre Rouge to the first chicane is quite long. I mean, we are talking about 13 to 18 seconds here. On other straights, we might only have 10 seconds or 6 seconds full throttle. However, if you take percentages from that, you can still say that one or more of those cars will have a hard time against the other cars. So many numbers that got written down more or less scientifically. How can we interpret all of that? Well, there are handling notes and additional notes I added to all of the numbers, and depending on what you liked, if which handling type you are, do you like understeering cars, do you like oversteering cars, you can just pull your own result out of those numbers. You know, the two cars I can't really recommend though are the old SLS and the Aston Martin, but in my opinion they really drive quite awfully. Although they are very fast, and that tells me that the balancing must be about right, they go from understeering to oversteering to understeering to oversteering. It's, well, I don't really like to drive them. Those cars too. On the other hand, we have cars like the Renault, the Acura, the Lamborghini, the Audi, the BMW M6, the Mercedes AMG, and the McLaren that are absolutely brilliant on the handling side. They are so neutral and balanced. There's no oversteering. Maybe some of these, you can read it, there is a little bit of oversteering, but actually that helps to throw the car around the track. So not the worst thing, yeah. I would say the Ferrari, I marked it as the only one with understeering and neutral handling. So for me, the Ferrari is quite understeering in some corners, but in other corners it handles quite neutral. And in fast corners, maybe sometimes it's a little bit oversteering. However, this can avoid it by having one click more rear downforce. Another car I won't recommend is Cadillac. It is so unstable on throttle and on brakes. I don't really, if you can counter that with setup work. Probably you can't. There are two cars that have no front downforce adjustment, the Lamborghini and the Aston, which is not the best thing, you know. On some tracks you want to lower the downforce overall or raise it, and yeah, with those two cars you don't have this possibility. The BMW C4 is the car with the best turn in my opinion, although the McLaren also has quite a nice turn in if you're after that. The Bentley that feels like a tank. Well, if you floor the throttle, the car is initially not responding too well, and in the end it's losing traction at around 100 kilometers per hour, because then the turbo kicks in, and I don't like this kind of driving. However, if you have no problems with the turbo kicking in, this car might be for you. The Renault has the only transmission with 7 gears, which can be an advantage on some circuits. If you always need the power available, you have 1 gear more to achieve that. However, other cars do have more torque, and you don't really need to shift down for some corners. Yeah? So, which car is the best one? Which is the best GT3, and which can I recommend without doubts? I would say there are several, and 3 of them can be recommended without hesitation. It's the BMW M6, it's the Ferrari, and above all it's the Audi. The Audi has the most neutral driving. It's just handling so flawlessly. As there's nothing to say about, nothing bad to say about the car. It also has decent acceleration, decent top speed. I think this will be the best car for the next few weeks or months, definitely, until we all figure out all the setup options of all cars. Maybe there are some secrets to some cars that make them suddenly much faster. However, for the moment it's the Audi. For myself, if you asked that, I say the Ferrari is my favorite car. Just the way it handles. It's more alive than the other cars. You have problems while braking. Sometimes it feels a bit too soft in the setup, so it's wiggling around. But come on guys, it's a Ferrari. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Additionally to my information, I will link the video from Ricky Prosh on YouTube, who compared all GT3 cars on the circuit of Mazda Raceway in Laguna Seca by lap time, and he has some different or some quite similar results. Watch his video as well, and see you next time. Bye bye.